In 1998, the Champs-Élysées in Paris hosted scenes not witnessed since the end of the Second World War. France had won the World Cup and in doing so united the nation. 2 years later, they became European champions. The Rainbow Warriors were football's dominant force.
All the French were together. It was a great event. The response from people is still one of great strength. It's as if it happened yesterday.
Every country constructs itself with symbols, and that victory was the strongest of symbols.
Everyone you meet remembers where they were on the 12th of July.
In November 1993 at the Parc des Princes in Paris, with practically the last kick of the game, Bulgaria's Valery Kostadinov denied France a place at the 1994 World Cup. It was the second time in succession they'd failed to qualify. French football required a different approach.
There were certain choices made by the manager not to select players like Eric Cantona and David Ginola anymore, and it allowed more space for the young players.
In 1995, we had a new group of players. All of the players had played together since 1995. And then in 1996, we played the Euros together in England. So we were the same generation.
Although he remained as technical director, Gérard Houllier was replaced by Aimé Jacquet as head coach. Jacquet led the team to the semi-finals of the 1996 European Championship.
Being knocked out still hurts because we lost on penalties. But the squad was developing in comparison to 1994, when we didn't qualify for the World Cup. For most of us, this was our first major tournament.
60 years on from the previous occasion, France was selected to host the World Cup, a competition devised by a Frenchman and then head of FIFA, Jules Rimet. In the time since, France had never reached the final, but that was about to change.
We had a few players who left to play in Italy. For example, I went from Monaco to play my football in Parma. In France, I would say that the team wasn't seen as that great, but I must admit that when I talked to Italian managers and to Italian players, they saw the French team as one of the favourites to win the tournament.
The public perception of the team, however, was mixed. This was an era of social and political instability, and the far right wasted no time in criticising the racial diversity of the squad.
That never really affected the team. The variety of cultures and origins in the French team was a source of richness. There were never any such problems between the players, and these unintelligent comments coming from outside the camp never caused any disruption.
The negative sentiment surrounding Jacquet was a distraction.
He had won a lot of trophies, with an exceptional Bordeaux team, everyone of importance in French football. Michel Platini, Michel Hidalgo, Guy Roux said that he was a great coach. In spite of this, some team journalists visibly tried to get him replaced by someone else for the World Cup. So all of this really tarnished the build-up to the World Cup.
The players themselves, however, remained focused. A strong back four and solid midfield allowed Zinedine Zidane creative freedom. The team was ready.
A great opportunity to play a World Cup at home. It's a dream of all players.
I was 18, I think, maybe 19. And I found myself alongside these exceptional players. There was Zidane, Deschamps, Marcel Desailly, Laurent Blanc and Barthez.
The first group match took place in the football-loving city of Marseille. Again, generation, the Marseille-born Zinedine Zidane.
A genius, but every team that wins a competition has a standout player. He couldn't do it all alone, but he is in that bracket.
He was exceptional, and he saw things faster and better than others on the pitch.
As the game came close to finishing, their goalkeeper became bigger and better. And so I said, I hope we don't go to penalties. I remember telling Laurent Blanc, stop going up, stay here, we shouldn't take risks. And all of a sudden, we score the winning goal, and I see that it was Laurent Blanc. And I remember thinking, what was he doing?
Zidane was at Juventus, a big club at the time, with Deschamps. I was at AC Milan, and Djorkaeff was at Inter. So we were all at big clubs. It was quite a tactical match. It was a match in which the Italians had some huge individuals: Del Piero, Vieri, Roberto Baggio.
The two great defences cancelled each other out.
I thought twice about taking a penalty. I really didn't want to, because if I had done, we would have gone home for sure.
I argued with Marcel Desailly, because if it went to sudden death, we would have needed to find a sixth taker, and there weren't many options. It was between Marcel, who was fresher, and myself, who didn't want to take one. But he said, you're the captain. Semi-final in France, and we were playing Croatia. Who could possibly believe that it would be such a struggle?
We lost in 1996 against the Czechs at the European Championships. So we were scared of not going through and failing at the semi-final stage again. The first half of the match wasn't a great performance. I remember our coach, Aimé Jacquet, woke us up. He said, if you continue like this, don't worry, you'll lose. The ball going one way, and it went the other. So the goalkeeper messed up as well. He went with his logic on going one way, and then the ball went the other.
A top-level athlete, a central defender able to play on either flank, a force of nature.
A lot of people are convinced I was going after revenge, because I was covering Souquet when he scored his goal against us. But when we get back on the field to play the second half of the match, I ran into Mario Stanic, a teammate at Parma, and he said, this game is ours. So when Souquet scored, that came back into my head.
It
was a source of motivation for us, because we didn't know what was happening. We said to ourselves, Ronaldo isn't on the team sheet. Are they having us on? But as soon as we saw him, we were up for it again. It made us more aggressive, in a positive way.
When I was a kid, and we played the World Cup final, it was Brazil. I was playing for Brazil. I was Brazilian. And then approaching the stadium in Saint-Denis and seeing thousands of people, we knew the Brazilians would be scared. And we were more than just 11. Brazil were not going to be able to beat a whole country. It wasn't possible. The manager had said, generally, when it comes to dead ball situations, the Brazilians are there in numbers, but they don't defend. and that we should exploit that. Is it the World Cup where Platini, Beckenbauer and Kempes played? This is crazy. What's going on? Players kissing one another, running around. I took a French flag and went to some friends in the stadium. Knew it was impossible to lose.
The image of Diego Maradona with the World Cup, you see him kissing the trophy and you say, I could never do that. And if I did that, it would be extraordinary.
In the World Cup in France.
The day after, when there were 1 million people on the Champs-Élysées, we were on this imperial bus with guards standing shoulder to shoulder, either side of the bus, to help us move up the street.
We didn't exactly feel calm, but it was all part of making the people happy. Such moments bring a great deal of emotion.
We won the title. We won the World Cup, and the country felt close to us. They were so proud of the team of '98.
The next target was the European Championship, another tournament devised by a Frenchman. Henri Delaunay was a football administrator who became General Secretary of UEFA in 1954. As hosts 30 years later, led by assistant position to replace Jacquet, and led the team to Euro 2000 in the Netherlands and Belgium. The 1998 team had been built on a rock-solid defence, but they were able to supplement that with prolific strikers such as Nicolas Anelka, David Trezeguet and Thierry Henry, all now 2 years older and 2 years wiser. The French qualified from their group after beating Denmark and the Czech Republic.
In 2000, I would say that it's the joy of 1998 that brings us there. You feel strong. You look at your team differently. We are the champions of the world. And if we are champions of the world, well, we can be champions of Europe.
After 1998, where we were supposedly an average team, we understood that this time we were a very, very strong team. And we were going into the competition to win it.
What was incredible was to understand the spirit of the team. We didn't have to talk anymore. During training, a few hours before, in the dressing room, we would talk, laugh, and then on the field, silence.
Their opponents in the quarter-finals were the Spanish, and Zidane once again made a telling contribution. But the French didn't have it all their own way.
I don't have a lot of pictures of players in my office, but I do have a picture of Pedro Munitis and me trying to stop him in that picture. I think it shows his humility. That day, however, it was incredible. I couldn't stop him, and I end up conceding a penalty. And to be honest, it was a catastrophe. It was their manager who saved me by taking him off. It was like the sun coming out.
France restored their lead through Yuri Djorkaeff. The drama was reserved for the last minute of the match, when Raoul missed the opportunity to send the game into extra time. The French were through to the last four. From which France emerged victorious. At Euro 2000, the French fell behind in the first half. But Thierry Henry equalized in the second half. And with the scores level deep into extra time, penalties seemed inevitable. But after Sylvain Wiltor's shot struck the hand of Abel Xavier, a spot kick was awarded despite Portuguese protests.
I felt it was handball from where I was, and that the referee made his decision with the help of his assistant. And then I saw all the Portuguese players go running towards him, but I thought to myself, he won't change his mind. So it was a bit lucky, because a place in the final was at stake.
Zidane scored the golden goal in the 117th minute.
It's better than waiting for the last minute.
The final in Rotterdam, and France against Italy. Two supreme defences face to face once again.
We are Latin too, us French. The Italians get on our nerves from time to time, just like the English. You can say there's always a bit of rivalry there.
I played in Italy for 10 years, and it is the culture before anything. They defend. And they're not wrong. When you concede, you have to score 2. So just don't concede and just score 1.
We finished the game with 4, almost 5 forwards, whereas Italy finished with a lone striker. Which means, on one hand, you have the Italian side trying to be more defensive and more tactical. And on the other hand,
Equalised, we had the psychological edge. Even though it wasn't the case, when we scored in stoppage time, to them, it was like they'd lost the match, whereas they had been celebrating just a few seconds before. Not on the pitch, but on the touchline, thinking they were about to be...
Mental or technical level, we were better equipped than Italy. And I think we deserve to win the European Championship. For me, the Euros were at the same level as the World Cup, because we were already champions of the world. We were already up there, and then we won the Euro. You're on that cloud, and then you find yourself even higher, thanks to that win.
Winning the 2001 Confederations Cup was yet another prize, and in 2006 France again reached the World Cup final, with 7 of the players who'd won the European Championship. In his last game for his country, Zidane scored, but was later sent off. Eventually, Trezeguet's miss saw Italy win on penalties, but by reaching the final, the aging heroes had proved their quality and confirmed their status as legends.
Our generation, we are the fruits of the generation of Platini and Tigana. I saw the loss in the semi-finals in 1982. That feeds you. I saw the win in 1984. I was outside with my brother, honking the horn of the car. It feeds you.
The diversity in origin of players was important. It's true that it serves as an example. With a country that has problems with immigration, an Algerian, an African and others who have done it together, wearing France's colours and winning. It was a strong symbol, that victory.
You can only win the Euros and the World Cup, and we won both. A real achievement.